At the heart of New Zealand's racing history, one event has stood the test of time. Since 1860, the New Zealand Derby has been the pinnacle of three-year-old racing. A stage where legends are made and champions are crowned.
Bone Crusher in front of me, he's won the Derby.
Excellence ranged up on the outside. Oh, he is a superstar.
It's a race steeped in tradition, a proving ground for the finest thoroughbreds, where history is written with every stride.
And coming back at him, the Phantom Chance, there's nothing, its nose is almost dead heat, I don't care.
A length clear from Rockton, Pop and Carrick, and then Chikorita. She's too good, she's a beauty.
But as we honour the past, we embrace the future. Introducing the NZB Kiwi, a race like no other. An all-Kiwi-bred showdown where innovation meets anticipation. New Zealand's finest bloodlines, the next generation of stars, and one tantalising payday.
The filly ranged up, Damask Rose will take out the 3-year-old.
But it's Evaporate, 100 metres to go.
Sawmiller in front, checkmate, that's impressive.
The Star of the South, Pivotal 10, way too good.
One stage, two iconic races, where the past and future collide in a spectacle like never before. This is more than racing. This is the evolution of an icon, where innovation and tradition run side by side.
Hello and a very warm welcome to your Champions Day preview show. What a day we have ahead of us. As you heard there, a massive race day coming your way on Saturday. The 4 Group 1s, the NZB Kiwi, amongst a host of other features. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the form around the Kiwi and the New Zealand Derby. We're going to bring you all of the in-depth look at the replays of some of our key contenders. We'll say a very good evening to the team involved in this show this evening. And George Simon, Lee Thinnis, Bevan Sweeney, a big hello to you.
Evening team, and evening to everyone at home. If you'd told me 2 years ago that this day would be here, I would have said you're absolutely kidding. And all the investment and innovation across the last couple of years, really, this is the crowning glory, boys, and can't wait for Saturday.
Cannot wait for Saturday. Obviously, the stake money's up, the jockeys are here, and the horses are going to be primed for this race meeting.
Been looking forward to this for a long, long time, team, and I think everybody in New Zealand racing knows it's the biggest race day ever in the proud history of New Zealand racing, so can't wait.
Well, let's find out what we're going to be really sinking our teeth into this morning. As I mentioned, it is, of course, the NZB Kiwi. It's an intriguing 3-year-old contest with international interest. We assess the field post the very dramatic barrier draw last night. We also chat to the Wexford team. They've got 4 runners in the NZB Kiwi, and we want to get the latest from them ahead of a huge weekend for Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott. And what about Team Tuxedo? They are dressed for success in the New Zealand Derby. We get the insight from them and the other contenders in the Derby. It's not just about Tuxedo. There's plenty of other chances in the race, and we want to hear about those as well. Well, to kick things off, we want to get into our weather and track. Let's get you to Ellerslie and have a look at what is in store in terms of race conditions on Saturday. It's forecast to be a beautiful sunny day, which is exactly what we need. Track condition, well, it's a good for the rails in the true position. And you might have, if you're in the Auckland area, would have seen the rain last night. Only 3 millimetres of rain in the past 24 hours. So all bodes well for a very comfortable afternoon of racing. We also want the key details. Where can you watch the NZB Kiwi, the Derby, the other Group 1s on the programme? Here's a look at all of that. 11:30, Big Saturday goes live. Trackside 1, 12:15, the first of the day kicks off. 2 p.m, Trackside Premier kicks off. 4:32, the NZB Kiwi itself. 5:07, the New Zealand Derby. And as you can see there at the bottom, there are still tickets available. If you're in the region and you want to go to the races, this is the day to be at Ellerslie, and just head to that Ellerslie website to find out more. Well, we've spoken all about the NZB Kiwi and the Derby. We want an overview of the field for the NZB Kiwi. Let's find out who our key contenders are ahead of the $3.5 million race.
Representing the TAB and trained by the Hayes Trio, this colt brings an impressive resume to the race, will disappear into the distance and leave the field chasing shadows. Another Aussie raider who's living up to his name, public attention has been drawing eyes and turning heads wherever he gallops. Wexford Stables have 4 runners in the field and will be hoping they made the right move, picking Checkmate as their slot representative. Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott have strategised every step, aiming to put rivals in a stalemate. Penman is scripting his own success story, following a different form line to most others. Is he ready to pen a new chapter in racing history? The Canterbury Jockey Club thinks Domain Ace is the one to have in the race. He's performed behind arguably our best 3-year-old, Savagely. Is he an ace up the sleeve? Sought after was just that, being the first horse named to run in the Kiwi. Waikato Stud were confident they were onto a winner. Will he be successful seeking glory on Saturday? Race are hoping they have all the right ingredients to smell victory. Trained by the very in-form Bjorn Baker, is she set to leave a trail of success, or will her rivals blow her away? Tiako Racing's filly, under the watchful eyes of Mark Walker and Sam Burgesson, isn't exactly as delicate as a rose. She races with thorny tenacity. Can she add more to her millions? Pride of the South, and maybe even the pride of the Emerald Isles. Selangor Turf Club's trained and ridden by Samantha Wynne. Can Pivotal 10 turn her perfect 5 into a pretty 7-figure payday? Arguably the pride of Plains, Waikato bred for Waikato thoroughbred racing, and under Wexford guidance, Sathito put her rivals away last start. Can she do it again? Ardalio was the horse seen fit for all the King's men. She knows how to find the winning post at Ellerslie, but can she go the distance on Saturday? Flying the flag for Ellerslie, Hanky Alpha will be hoping to raise the club colours on their biggest day. Could there be a flash of grey on the path to Kiwi gold? Cambridge Stud's filly First Dance is led by Lance Noble. Is she set to waltz her way to the winner's circle, or could it be a case of 2 left feet? Rounding out the field, Zormella, after another runner's cards were folded. Could she spoil the party? With a big ownership group, you'll hear about it if she does.
As you can see from that, it's a really intriguing contest. We bring a lot of different form lines, and we also, of course, have that international interest. It's really shaped into a wonderful race, hasn't it? With the international contenders we bring, there's so much to look forward to in terms of the race on Saturday. Absolutely,
yeah. The fact that we've got this Australian contingent here, Evaporate, I think personally he's the best horse in the race. But he's got a tricky barrier draw on Saturday night. Public attention is from another very talented stable as well. But there are so many chances, and the best thing about this race is that the good horses are starting to peak, and they're peaking perfectly for this race on Saturday. Can't wait.
Looks that way.
Obviously 1,500 metres. Draws, are they going to be as important if it was a mile or 1,400? There's a few question marks and there's a lot of answers, but like Evaporate, look, his run last start to Mr. Brightside was super, wasn't it?
Oh, he was immense, about as big as you would see, and you didn't really want him to win that particular race. This race being a set weight at penalties, if he'd won, then
it goes up more.
Yeah, the setup of the race is different. Look, we know they've been walking into Ellerslie at times. I don't think this race is going to be a walk just because we've got some runners drawn wide. They'll have to get into the race. We'll talk about that shortly.
Yeah, it's a race we can really be proud of. It is the NZB Kiwi, and we are so looking forward to it. After the break, we'll get into the form.
I think there's nothing better than a horse cuddle at the end of the day.
Yeah, honest to God. There's times I've come back from long days and waiting on the horse to come back from the races, and I've had to shed a few tears, you know, like, and just a hug, and they know. Like, one night I went into the horses and he put his neck around me and nearly pulled me in. Like, it's just, the horses are amazing. We lost without them.
The reason Lance and I get out of bed for is looking for elite athletes. You know, we're looking for that next champion. I think that's what you're doing it for, isn't it? Yeah, we want a champion, eh?
He is stunning, and like, he's been dappled the whole way through, but we actually haven't had to do anything with him at all. The relationship between man and horse is just second to none. It's unbelievable, you know, and it's special.
If you have the time, really take a look at that show, the NZB Kiwi Close Up, because it's such a good in-depth look at some of the key people and horses involved in the race. George, we want to have a look at the market ahead of the NZB Kiwi, because obviously we had the theatrics last night of the barrier draw, the egg smashing, but the market didn't really change a whole lot, did it?
No, it didn't. I think people have made up their minds that Evaporate is the best horse in the race at $2.70, didn't change. Public attention. Even with that tricky barrier draw drawn out where it is, it's still at 5.50 second favourite. Checkmate, one of 4 from Wexford Stables, the best backed of their runners at $8. And of course, Perfumist for Bjorn Baker. I'm just waiting to see him go off if his horse wins on Saturday, because he will be entertainment plus.
Leith and Bevan, now we have the draws. We can really get the speed map sort of locked in. What have you come up with for people at home?
Look, I think Pivotal 10, they have to either be outside leader or lead. Look, she's had 7 starts. She's never been right-handed. She's never had a trial right-handed, and she's having her first start around Ellerslie. So, look, ideally, if she had probably a better draw, she can cross. Perfumist on the inside, do they control the speed, or do they let Pivotal 10 actually go to a rail? What happens if a Pivotal 10 doesn't go right-handed? We've seen it before at Ellerslie, horses run off.
Well, I just think the most important thing about the speed map is that some notable horses in the race are drawn out. So what are they going to do? Perfumist draws to get a soft sit. You've got Checkmate finding a spot to Titho. So there seems to be a wave of horses that are more than likely going to come across and add a bit of speed into the race.
I think the best thing of it, being 1,500 metres, it's going to give those outside gates a bit more time to actually get across and get a spot. But I feel that this race is going to be run at a really genuine tempo.
Oh, I sort of thought that the O'Sullivan-Scott team actually got the best of the draws last evening. All of their horses, I think, can find a beautiful spot in the run, and the speed's going to come on. I think under this scenario, best horse should win the race.
Well, that's what we want to hear. Let's get you to Lance O'Sullivan from Wexford Stables, talking of those contenders. And Lance, it's great to say a big hello to you. Looking forward to the NZB Kiwi on Saturday, no doubt. Tell me, what's it been like for the team at home? How are things shaping up? I'm sure the excitement's building.
Yeah, it certainly is, Emily. I think the main thing that all 4 horses that are lining up are sound and well. We're sort of going in there with sort of no clouds over any of them. So it's just a matter of now whether they're actually good enough.
Lane, you've got a pretty big bill to pay from the weekend. Congratulations on that activity. But I think you must have some Irish in the family, because you got the luck of the Irish with the draws. You must have been happy with last evening.
Well, for sure. And I'll tell you what, my daughter married a Doyle, and it was quite an interesting story when they put it all together. As you know, my father, when he named Wexford many, many years ago, we were actually from Waterford and not from Wexford, but the Doyle family is actually from Wexford, so we finally joined the dots. No, it's you know, it's a great time coming up. Everybody's very excited about it, and of course, it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, obviously the whole 4 runners, Lance, they're live chances in a big race like this. Look, if you were riding in the race, what horse would you pick out of your stable?
Look, I think probably the most reliable is Satheto. You know, she should go forward and be in the first half dozen during the run. I think a horse like Checkmate, he's probably next best on the list. I probably would have made up my mind last night. I would have waited for the barrier draws. But look, I think probably those are the 2 of our best chance on exposed form. Which one would I ride? I'd probably be told which one to ride. Probably would have been Satheto. I probably would have ridden the Waikato stud horse, but not to say she's the best chance.
And probably the best thing about all your 4 runners, that they've all had so much experience around Ellerslie. They've had trials there, race day starts, and you know as a jockey, it's vital, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's up and down Dale a little bit, and you know, we've had good horses go there in the past and they don't perform. But the one thing about Ellerslie, it's a good horses track. Usually the best horse wins. As you know, you've been around there as many times as what I have, and you know, the last, you know, sort of 50 metres can find them out. You're just starting to climb a bit of a rise, and if there's any chink in your armour, you're going to get picked up. But no, it's a great track. It's certainly our best, and you know, with the way that the track's riding at the present time, as we all know, it's riding very fair. They can sort of lead. come from mid, come from back, and you know, so it's a very, very fair track now, and you know, hopefully they all get the chance and the best horse actually wins on the day.
Lani, you've got the 4 runners in the race, as we know. They've generally had an uninterrupted sort of campaign towards this race on Saturday, but except, of course, Sought After. It's had some issues. And how confident are you of Sought After being in the finish on Saturday?
Look, George, I think from his point of view, you know, he hasn't run that far in the past. He's only run over, I think, 1,200. 14, I think it might have been at Tiara, but on a wet track. But I think from our point of view with him, we've kept him pretty busy. He's been to a few of the meets. He's had a gallop at one of them. He's going to line up looking fit. You know, he certainly will look fit. He won't lack any. You know, there's no cloud over the horse's fitness. I think ideally we would have liked to have given the 1,400 metres there a couple of weeks ago. And the Uncle Remus wasn't to be, but he's not going to. He's certainly going to line up a very fit horse. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, Lani, you're on Satitho, and this is a horse whose preparation, to my eye, seems to have been perfectly set and come along for this particular race. You've got a little bit of early zip. You've got some runners that are well fancied in the market out wider. Are you just jumping and just putting enough pressure into the race to make those out wider work around you?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it depends how she hops away from the barrier. But there's no doubt she's a reasonably good beginner. She's got good tactical early speed, and if she can begin, we'll certainly be looking to utilise the draw to a certain extent.
Okay, with that many in the race, Lani, Checkmate could probably get on the back of Satitho and get a track into the race on the back of the stablemate?
Look, I think with Checkmate, if you have a look at his last few runs, he's drawn wide, and we've had no choice but to go back on him to give him his chance to get home. You know, it's a different kettle of fish this week where he's you know, gate 3, you know, we'll ride him as he goes, but you'd certainly see him to take up a midfield position. That's certainly what we'd like to see.
Lance, thanks so much for joining us on the show this morning. Great to get your insight into the 4 runners. Best of luck on Saturday. No doubt it'll be pretty busy, but hopefully a sigh of relief when it's all done, and perhaps you can take home the trophy. Yeah, pleasure. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, it will be a bit of pressure going into an event like this, but as we all know, you know, pressure's a privilege, and we're just, you know, so honoured, myself, Andrew, and all the team at Wexford to have the 4 runners. So let's hope they get a decent crack and they can show their best. Thank you. Yeah, remarkable achievement, isn't it, to have 4 in the race, to have got them to that point, 4 3-year-olds. And it's really been something we've spoken about a lot, hasn't it, this season, the rise of Wexford stables. They're just delivering. Well, especially they could have had up to 6 runners, a couple of little hiccups along the way, but obviously they've targeted this race, you know, last year and year before, buying these yearlings, and yeah, be interesting. They train in a partnership. Be interesting who's going to turn up on Sunday. Is it a coincidence that they've really struck form, Wexford stables, with the return to New Zealand of brother Paul? Yeah, you're correct there. You know, as we all know, Paul left and had a successful career in Hong Kong, and I'm sure that he's a little bit hands-on the morning, even though Lani would never say that. Yeah, it's amazing how a little bit of success, the investment returns. You saw them at the sales, and they were in big time again at the sales, trying to find the next NZB Kiwi runner. And gee, it's an incredible achievement to have this many in the race. It sure is. We've spoken about the 4 Wexford runners, and we now want to have a look at the international contenders, of which there are a couple. Let's chat through Evaporate to start with. And you just can't go past a 4th Wheat for Age Company, a Futurity Stakes behind Mr. Brightside. That is top-notch form. Yeah, that's what makes him the best horse in the race on paper and on exposed form to date. Evaporate. This 4th placing him behind a superstar in Mr. Brightside at the ultimate level is just great form recommendation for the NZB Kiwi. He is a deserving favourite. But he'll just need a little bit of luck, I think, from their barrier draw. Well, we've seen this so many times where you have those 3-year-olds that race against the older horses that wait for age, and they come back into their own age group, and they just come out and just go, wow, this is so much easier. Well, there's no Mr. Brightside, or I wish I won on Saturday. I think that's the major factor. And when I saw this, he just looked to be flying at LSE. This is about as good as you'll see from a young 3-year-old. It was impressive. Look, certainly they were out on the wide on the track, but he looked like he was he was happy. By all reports, he's travelled over great, and he comes as this race 3rd up as well. Okay, so what do we see him doing from the hop? Because he's generally a positive horse, and if they go forward, it'll put more pressure into the race. But he can probably cop a bit of pressure on what we just saw there. He probably can. I think the tempo is going to be really strong, so I think he's going to open the
field up a little bit, and I can see Mick D, you know, great New Zealander. He's going to be one off the rail somewhere, just doing his own thing. It won't matter to Mick D, but this is a $3.5 million race either.
And that's a great point too, because we've got Mick D, we've got Blake Shin in there as well. These are jockeys who compete on this level and this sort of races with that sort of stake money every week. Yeah. So they're used to the pressure. It'll be the lesser experienced jockeys at this level that'll be feeling the nerves. Did you get nervous before big races? I know you like counting money.
Precious for tyres, but certainly a $3.5 million race, when you make one little mistake and your race is over. So you've got to get it spot on, you've got to have the right trainer and the right horses.
If he gets one off, just back of the lead, then he's 240.
He's a big, strong horse. 59 kilos is not a negative for him.
And he's obviously tough because he ran in the Cox Plate as a 3-year-old, and most 3-year-olds, having had the run he had in a race like that, would never come up again. He's come up. So
he's come up. They've set him for this race, third up. There's so much timing about it.
Yep.
Let's talk public attention, because another who brings real intrigue into the contest, races obviously in the Coolmore colours, got a beautiful New Zealand pedigree, obviously the progeny of Legramore. What do we make of this fourth, Leith?
Yeah, look, obviously he was one of the last horses, the crop of horses that Sir Patrick Hogan bred before he died. Look, Coolmore Stud, they bought him for only $160,000. He was a beautiful horse, adjusted by Carlaw Park. So, look, this is broadsiding outside him here, and he was in the top 3 favourites for the Cox Plate, and look, he was second up. You know, his first up run was so much better, but he only got beat just under 2 lengths.
I just didn't quite see a turn of foot that I expected from it. There was a few out wide that sort of blew on past him. To be fair, that is broadsiding, and we know what a colt he is, and especially in a fresh state. But he just didn't quite pick up like I expected. I think he puts a bit of pressure into the race. They won't sit back on him. What are your thoughts?
No, I think they'll go forward. Maybe from 14, they'll look. Hopefully, they can get midfield somewhere. But you know, it's just the draws for that horse. If he was drawn inside 6, I had him on top.
I just thought that last out effort was a typical second up run after his enormous win fresh up. I just think he was a little bit down that second up run, but once again, it's that tricky barrier draw. But if the boys are right and the pace is on, he'll get across there eventually, and he's a horse that can go forward and take a spot.
Alrighty, well, let's have a little chat about Perfumist. That's the other Australian raider. Björn Baker, trained, arrived in New Zealand Sunday evening. This is a second, coming off the back of 4 straight victories, and I think she probably deserved to win this, because it certainly didn't go her way.
No, it certainly didn't. What you don't see there, the horse that sort of led them at really strong sectionals, and she was left, it wasn't the girl's fault, the apprentice that rode her that day, Michelle Roper. Look, she was still game to the finish, even though it was a benchmark 78. Look, Bjorn set her for this race a little bit. She'll be super fit. You know where she's going to land from barrier 2, but it's a big plus for her.
There was a few signs there. They hit on the side, just a little bit awkward. I've got a lot of trust in Bjorn Baker. It's been a decent sort of preparation with a lot of success. I've just got a couple of worries there. The sidewalkers go on. I do think this is a horse that sets up the race, because they'll jump with this. They can push forward, and whatever they do will dictate what the horse is coming around, how hard they have to work to get into a forward position, and holds a really strong gallop, the filly by Oroka, so she can work them quite hard.
Look, she gets them off nicely at the weights, 56.5, and the barrier 2 is a big plus for her.
She's tough too. She really is tough, and we know how good Björn is at travelling horses. He's had great success, of course, in WA and Melbourne as well. Let's find out what the Australian Raiders had to say about their contenders in the NZB Kiwi.
Yeah, but he had a phenomenal one. Like he grits his teeth down, he bears it, and he does try as hard as he can. So I reckon this Saturday he's going to try as hard as he can again.
Yeah, look, she hasn't missed a beat. She ate up everything, licked the bowl the first night, went out to the stables Monday morning after she arrived, and she was lying down asleep. So, she's fitted in straight away.
He's a really nice horse. He's got a great attitude. He's come here this morning and just gone 5-3, run home in 25. I thought he got around the track really good. His action feels good. I think if he can bring that form from Sydney, he's going to be very hard to beat. Like, he's beaten some proper horses over there, like Linebacker. He's finished a length and a half off broadsiding, which is arguably the best 3-year-old in Australia at the moment, you know. So, he's a proper horse.
Great to get the insight there from the connections of our Australian raiders. Let's bring it back to home soil now and chat about a few of the New Zealand horses. We start with Damask Rose. This is a Karaka Million, where she was oh so impressive with that really good turn of foot, getting home well.
Yeah, obviously Blake's first ride on the horse, not much went right that day, and then he got a spot on this day where the track was a little bit off. He saved from a niggly gate, he got into a great position, and that's Tuxedo, and she went past him pretty easy in the end. The best thing about her, I liked her trial at Taupo.
Loved her trial at Taupo. I think if she jumps from the gate, she can be first up to sit outside Perfumus and just let the race unfold outside her. I think there's a real sense of timing from Tiakau with an exceptional 3-year-old filly, and Georgia trialled up like she's going to be spot on for Saturday.
You mentioned it, I think you struck the nail on the head, boys. It's a sense of timing about her. She's my selection to win the race. And because of this trial, the way that she won at Ellerslie was good, but the way she's bounced through that race, obviously, and trialling here on the bit at the line and doing it nicely, she is definitely, I think, the one they will have to beat.
Well, they set her for this race a year ago. They missed the 1,000 guineas off her to set her for this race, and the best thing about her trial, that Babylon Berlin, she's one of our best sprinters we've got. She actually went past it pretty easy as well.
I think she might have the best turn of foot in the race if everything goes perfectly for her. She gets a nice sit, pops out. I think she can really ping strongly to Mass Road, so if she gets the right run, she's a massive danger in the race.
Well, Damask Rose brings the classic 3-year-old form through the Karaka Million. The next horse we touch on doesn't bring such straightforward form lines. Here's a look at Penman, winning at Ellerslie last time, beating the older horses and doing it pretty comfortably. Had the opportunity to be unlucky in this, but was able to get out and then show that great turn of foot too.
Yeah, obviously taking on the older horses, it's never easy, especially giving them a little bit of weight as well. He was going to be desperately unlucky, got a gate late. I think he needed a gate, barrier 13, even though Pivotal 10's outside him. The best place he's going to be probably in the race, unless they go extremely hard, is 3 wide.
Historically, if a 3-year-old takes on the 65s, 75s and wins a race, then it's a really good guide to a horse being very competitive in a race like this. I thought it was really, really good. I agree completely with Leith. If this horse had drawn a gate, it would have been a massive player in this race. I find it difficult to find a spot for Penman. I think there's a danger it's caught 3 wide or has to go back. So it's not going to be in my top 4, but it's a horse that I'm very keen to follow as we get further into its career.
The commentator said it was a statement win by the horse last time. If you have a look at his action halfway up the home straight, he was starting to get his head up in the air, which is probably a sign of greenness, but it's also a sign of being a really tough horse, a real tough cookie. The barrier draw is of concern though.
Let's talk Pivotal 10. That's the next horse that we get to in our preview of the NZB Kiwi, the darling of the South. All you can do is win, and she keeps on doing that, and she's doing it well. And last time, the sectionals were pretty good too.
Yeah, though, look, she's around 121 for 1,400 metres. She was going the whole way, even though she's come home at 35.75. She's won by 9 lengths. How do we place her? She's a specimen. Obviously, Cambridge started brought a half share into her after this win. Look, I'd love her to come out and win, but from barrier 12, having her first start, not only in a trial, but race day around Ellerslie, it's so tough.
Travel.
It
wasn't on the agenda, now it's on the agenda. You've got to come up to Ellerslie. You can't change the horse's pattern now after what it's done in its last few starts, so it's going to go forward. If they can hold the horse up a little bit more, because it was walking at the line there, but it deserved to be after its early sectionals. I think it's a nice horse, Emma. I was down south last week and saw a 3-year-old filly that was miles behind this horse, win with a lot of authority at Wingatu. There's no doubt the ability's there. It's just how the preparations played out, really.
This will be the feel-good story of the NZB Kiwi if Pivotal 10 can win in the Cambridge stud colours. For other owner, Colin Whiteman, and particularly for trainer jockey, Samantha Wynne. She's a real character. This is an enormous assignment for both horse and rider. If it happens to win the race, there won't be a dry eye on the course on Saturday at Ellerslie, because everybody would have just been willing at home.
Yeah, it would be a fairy tale result, that's for sure. Let's find out from our Kiwi contenders what they think ahead of Saturday.
Yeah, really pleased with how she's profiling for Saturday there. Obviously, it's come up at a super field. The Aussies certainly make it interesting. And you know, she needs to go to another level again, which we think she has from that Karaka Million. Her trial was super. Really pleased with how she worked here this morning for Opie. Pulled up really well. going in good form. She's bright and well. We don't think we can get her any better, and she needs to bring her A game. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a massive challenge. It's going to be a fantastic race.
Going great. I liked her last run against the older mare. She drew an outside gate. It was a slowly run race. We got a long way back, but she was good to the line. Everything's gone very good for her since. I'd love to see a good barrier draw, but could not fault her. Extremely good. He just keeps taking the next step. Matt Cartwright's come in and he's ridden him in all his fast work. He just can't believe how he keeps taking that next step. He's just getting more professional on the track. He's always been a little bit green and new, and that's sort of seen him undone a bit. But his work, his last start was brilliant, I thought, against the older horses. He's come on very well. He's dapples everywhere. He's just a horse that's right on the way up.
Yeah, really well, and she's flying, but she, as you say, she was a maiden winner last time out. She's now coming to take on horses with Group 1 form in Australia, you know, group winners from here. It's a huge step, you know, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, she's out of maiden. She's got to run in a 3-year-old race, so it might as well be a 3-year-old race worth $3.5 million.
Really well. Like, she took it all in her strides, didn't bat an eyelid, never turned a hair, so very proud of her there. It's going to be a big ask on Saturday, going that way around at that speed, but at the same time she's ready to do it.
Well, that is the insight from our contenders ahead of the NZB Kiwi. Let's find out the selections from the team here on the panel. Bevan Sweeney, we're going to start with you.
Well, I can't jump ship. I have been backing Evaporate for a period of time, and his form just stands out to me. I think he's a deserved favourite. He's getting a little bit short in the market, but if Elise right and he gets one off and sort of in front of midfield, then he's very, very dangerous. Look, I think maybe Satitho is the toughest of the horses from the Kiwi Brigade, and therefore that is in public attention. I think brings great form lines, and as we've talked about, Damask Rose has a sense of timing about her.
Yeah, I'm with Evaporate. Third up, look, he's going to get 1,500 metres, looks like it's a perfect trip. Look, he's 1.8 lengths off Mr. Brightside. If he can get anywhere one off, or maybe even 3 wide with cover, I think there's going to be a lot of tempo on the race. I think he'll be winning. I think Checkmate, you've got to respect him. He's drawn barrier 3. He loves Ellerslie. He's had a good look around there. See, Thedo, I thought she's going to be bang just behind the speed. And I actually thought I found a place with public attention for 4th. I think if he had a better draw, I'd just about have him on top. But yeah, I'm off Michael D, ex-New Zealander.
Yeah, great jockey. Look, I'm staying with the Damask Rose, boys. She's been my selection for the race for a little while, particularly after their trial. But I've got all the respect around Evaporate. He's a class horse for a reason. He's a very, very, very good galloper, as he showed last time out. Satitho's right in the mix. And being an old sentimental fool, I would really love to see Pivotal 10 win, so we can all enjoy the moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in the camp of Pivotal 10. Well, that is the selections of the team here on the panel. The NZB Kiwi is a race we can be incredibly proud of here in New Zealand, an opportunity to showcase the New Zealand thoroughbred and New Zealand racing. That's it for innovation. After the break, we get into tradition, and we're going to preview the New Zealand Derby.
I hope they got our size in here, mate.
Yeah, I've got a bit tubby lately.
The owners?
A bunch of lunatics. Good morning.
Hi. Morning. Barney, one of the chief owners who purchased the horse in the first place, he was involved in my first Group 1 winner, Magic Cave, a long time ago. Tuxedos, eh? Tuxedos we're after.
Yeah. Look flash, eh?
Tidy, isn't it? Spruce us up.
It was Barney that suggested Tux is on Crack a Million. We've got to keep it going now, haven't we?
We're flashed up, mate. They love a bet, they love a beer, and they certainly enjoy their racing.
It's what you want in the game, isn't it? And they're easy going, and like they just want to race and have a good winner.
What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, looks like an Irish James Bond.
Let's go and try and win it up. Good luck. It takes a good trainer to do it, because you've got to know when to put the pressure on a horse, when to back off it, and to not overtrain it or undertrain it for that 1.5 miles. And Dad taught me well exactly what to do in that situation.
Crusher in front of him. He's won the Derby. Second is Flight Bijou.
Oh, I love talking about Bone Crusher. You know, the only problem with Bone Crusher is when you leave school and look after a horse, as fantastic, as great a champion as he was, it's only one way, and it's not up, it's down. You can spend a lifetime chasing one and likely, of course, never ever get one quite the same as they just don't make horses like him anymore.
It's a Cambridge Derby. Military Move and Mickey Walker have won it. What a moment for Sean Ritchie, the strapper to that wonderful galloper in Bone Crusher, the winner of this race many years ago.
It's one of those things that are almost surreal at the time, and you walk away going, we just did that, you know, and it's something special, particularly when I had my mum and dad there with us at the time, and it was just a wonderful feeling that you can't ever forget.
When Bone Crusher won it, I felt great. Look, this is just as great. But we do all work in close contact, and yeah, and I'm sure that helps us.
All the horses in the stable get a lot of time spent with them. There's others you like who do well. There's others who try and haven't got that talent. And then you get that special one like Tuxedo who finds his own way on the racetrack to shine everything he has.
Like the minute he came in to the yard as a yearling when he was broken in, he was just always laid back. Sometimes you look at him like an old steeplechaser, you know. Sean elected to bring him down for the Wellington Stakes. It ended up being at Otaki. Like, he came from near on last that day, and he just picked up and just kept fighting all the way to the line. So, like, from there I just thought we had something special.
They hit the line. Tuxedo. Tuxedo's got up, dressed for success, and he'll take the Group 3.
The way he relaxed in the Waikato Guineas, well, he told us himself that he can run the 2,000 out strongly. He wandered across the last 150 metres. He got a little bit wayward and got a little bit lost, but after the line he was going away from those horses again and pulling up. So the signs are there that we'll run the mile and a half out.
He's all suited up for victory here. He'll stroll home in the Legacy Lodge, Waikato Guineas.
It meant a lot to me for Colin. Like, Colin's a Group 1 trainer. We just haven't had a Group 1 winner together. We've won a lot of big races. He's got a few cups on his mantelpiece at home at his place now, so we'll get there. And if we can get there first up in the Derby, that'd be even better again. He's a very good trainer, and after I'm gone, he'll still be a good trainer.
Pretty sure we'd have a good party if we could, especially with the owners, because they like filling cups up.
He's Irish. He's going to be hard to keep up with.
He looks quite sharp with his bow tie on, doesn't he?
He sure does. He'll look a lot sharper if he hits that winning post in front on Derby Day, won't you, partner?
I think it'll be a pretty good celebration if Tuxedo was able to take out the New Zealand Derby on Saturday. Let's have a look at the market ahead of a speed map. And George, the barrier draws have been significant, haven't they, for a number of our key chances in this. But as you can see, it's pretty open, isn't it, at the top end?
Yeah, the top end sees the Doctor of Love, who was so good in the Avondale Guineas for the Busselton Young team, and also Tuxedo, who was so good in the Waikato Guineas at his last start at $4.80. Will he do it? They've still got got him in the market at $4.40. He was a lot shorter prior to his last start. So, yeah, it's going to be a fascinating race.
Let's talk speed maps with yourself, Bevan, and Leith. How did we assess the big field for the Derby unfolding?
Look, it was a fast Avondale Guineas. Look, in the race, we saw them walk. They ran 7.5 seconds slower than they did the year before when Orchestra won. Will he do its first 400 metres? He ran 29 seconds, nearly. That's three-quarter pace. Look, I think there's going to be, obviously being the 2,400 metre start, everyone's going to get a position to a winning post where you cannot be three wide. So everyone is going to keep going till they get one off or even on the rail. So I feel that this time round, we're going to see a totally different run race than we did in the Avondale Guineas.
I'm not convinced, I have to say. I'm not 100% convinced. I sort of had Ride from the Ashes, Amazing Fluke as maybe two that could go forward.
I think grey area, we saw him
one
at Tauranga on a day it was on speed. I think the barrier 4 is a big plus for him. I think he's a natural leader in the race. He looked comfortable when he was on the rail at Ellerslie, at Tauranga when he won. Not much went right last start. I think Amazing Fluke will go forward again. Gives a horse like Hakkinen and Oceana a dream run just behind the speed.
Yeah, those two get dream runs. So the Doctor of Love drawn out. I know it showed a bit of speed last time, but there wasn't a lot of speed in it. But I see Tuxedo getting back. I see Will he do it, go back. And if they settle in quickly, then what do you do from back in the field? If they're back there and they're going slow, they're going to have to do something mid-race with those favoured runners.
You mentioned the farcical tempo in the Avondale Guineas, and it's a race that I want you both to have a little look at there on the big screen. Just talk me through what unfolded for people at home.
Well, as we saw, like Bourbon Proof, he started from the outside gate, and Michael McNabb, it was a great ride. He just controlled the tempo. It just gave those back markers no hope in the race, to be fair. Look, Hakkinen went forward, Kiwi Skyhawk went forward, Vinny on the inside, and the ride by the Doctor of Love, like he was 3 wide, but on a slow tempo, you can be 3 wide with a bit of cover.
Well, absolutely. I mean, once they settle in, George has written an article about this, and he said it in his commentaries over the last 2 or 3 meetings, that they're just pulling up for long periods of the race. And you can see the leader now, that is Bourbon. He's doing absolutely nothing. Your favourite runner, Will He Do It, is right at the back of the race. And probably at this stage, with Master's instructions that he went out onto the course with, no chance. So at this point in the race, I don't know what you were thinking, Leith.
Look,
I was thinking...
It's always hard when you're having your first lead-up run in an Avondale Guineas or Waikato Guineas. You don't want to change your horse's tempo too much, but the best thing is you want your horse to jump out and relax. Obviously, Will He Do It got too far back, and he over-raced the whole race.
Look, I'm not really blaming Master because there's instructions, his first time over ground. I think the one moment when the horse in the green went around him that he maybe could have tacked onto the back of that and got into the race a little bit earlier. If you go back and review the sectionals, he's actually done a pretty good job sectionally when he's getting to
He's
the
run
line.
the second fastest sectionals home the last 400 metres, so it was a better run than it looked. It's just from the wide gate again this week. Where's he going to end up? But I just feel this Saturday in the Derby, I just feel that someone's going to take initiative and roll along at even tempo.
Good ride on Oceania Dream by George Rook. He got this into a sweet rhythm just forward of the back trio who were starting to paddle at this stage. Really shaker and mover, Oceania Dream, because the last part of this horse's race was outstanding, and you look at the program, it'll be an interesting thing to go into this race and win a Derby. We've seen Asterix win off a Maiden Stars. This horse is probably peaking at the right time. What do we make of Will He Do It post this race? I saw some scribes or people who are riding to the racing saying he looked light, he was chewing on the bit.
Yeah, he's always one of those horses. He's never looked like a big, fully furnished horse. The thing about him, though, it was the first time we've actually seen him jump out, and he was over-racing. He never settled in. How do we know? Will he get 2,400 metres? I know he's bred to, but there is a question mark there.
Well, Georgie, you would have taken a look back at Hinikaha and Will He Do It before the corner. What were you thinking in the call?
1,000 metres out, I thought Willie's no hope. He cannot do it today, and it was a farcically run race. It was a terrible guide to the Trackside New Zealand Derby on Saturday. I think a much better guide to the race possibly panning out on Saturday was the Waikato Guineas, because at least they ran it at a reasonable tempo. The Avondale Guineas, it could still throw up the winner of the Trackside New Zealand Derby. I think it will, but as a race to watch, it was terrible.
Talking of the Waikato Guineas, that is the other form race that we can assess now. And you can see Tuxedo there in the black and white with a little white snip on his nose. He settled back and running, but he closed it off so strongly.
Yeah, this was D-Day for Tuxedo. They wanted to see him jump out and relax. They didn't care if there was no speed on or not. If he didn't come out and win like he did, they were going to drop him back to the Kiwi. So, look, he proved that he's going to get 2,400 metres on his ear. He'd done everything right, even though the tempo was quite strong. The best thing about him, he relaxed so good, but his last 200 metres, he actually had his ears pricked, and he won with a little bit in hand.
Well, here's a conundrum for all us form analysts, because we're sort of riding off the Avondale Guineas. Bourbon Proofer in second there. Tuxedo go Bourbon Proofer cold this day, and he was running away from them. For me, since I saw this horse win at Otaki, he physically was a 3-year-old I had to follow, because he's got a lot of body about him, he's got a bit of strength about him, and I just thought to myself, he's going to hold up into a preparation. He was devastating this day.
Yeah, and look, and the owners actually bought him to win the Derby, so you know, they would have come out of this feeling pretty good. Like it was, it's got a perfect bit of timing. He's gone back to Ellerslie, he's in an exhibition gallop, and look, he's definitely going to get to 2,400 metres.
His issue is the draw. Where does he get to from the draw? Is he good enough to make a mid-race move and get himself and continue on and win a race like the Derby?
I don't think that the draw is too much of a hindrance for Tuxedo. They get a long run down the home straight from the 2,400 metre start in the Derby. But he's drawn out wide, we know that. But we saw what he did in the Waikato Guineas. He got back, he dropped the nickel. He'll just sit back, smoke his pipe, and at some stage, 800 or so metres out from home, he'll start to get on his bike and he'll be coming into it as he did. But Leith is right. Watching this horse over the last 250 metres in this particular race, it was just bring on the Derby.
And Breven Proof, he was hard fit going into this race. And look, we saw Breven Proof come out, the Avondale Guineas, run such a good race, but Breven Proof can't turn the tables on Tuck Steve.
No, I don't
Not
think
in
he
my
can.
eyes.
No, and I think he's still a bit of a baby. He's still gawking around there at the crowd. If they walk, has he got a big enough turn of foot to pick him up? I've got a sneaking suspicion he has. I think he's a really top-line 3-year-old.
The other thing too is that Sean Ritchie knows what it takes to train a Derby winner, and I think there's a little bit of timing about this.
Yeah, certainly feels that way, doesn't it? We just want to take you back just to remind you how good Willie Do It is, because I guess as you've heard from the team, the Avondale Guineas isn't the best form race that we've seen in a preparation to a New Zealand Derby. So here is a look at Willie Do It at Ellerslie when winning. This is February the 1st. Geez, he's dynamic at his very best.
I reckon this race has knocked him around more than they think. It was a strongly run race against the older horses, and look, even though he was strong through the line, I reckon it's taken the whole sprint out of him. I think this race really hurt him.
Good, interesting comments there.
Well, physically, you were
Yeah,
there.
he done all the chasing.
Physically, you saw him on the day. What did you see?
From barrier 1, they put him into a spot, but he was chasing the whole way. He brought that whole field up. You've got to remember, those horses are out 2 and 3 lengths in front of him. It was a hard run. It may be harder than we think.
It was quite deceiving that his winning margin probably thought it's been an easy win, but as you say, it might have knocked him around a bit.
He doesn't need to be at his sprinting best to win a Derby. He needs to be dour and rock hard fit, and that is the horse that you're going to get on Derby Day because he is fit. But as we know, Leith, we've seen him. He's big, he's angular, he's plenty of leg under him.
He doesn't look like he should be racing here. I think he's been winning on the over a mile, over the shorter distance on ability, and I just think that I think he's running on empty. I might be wrong, but I think that race there, what we just watched, I reckon it's taken the stuffing out of him.
I think that's an interesting question. We might be wrong with this horse because there is no doubt he is a super racehorse. But some horses, the Derby preparation just doesn't suit. We all know that. And he's just put question marks in our minds. We might be wrong though. If he's right at his peak, he could blow him off the race.
Might be wrong.
He could blow him off the race course, this horse. He's serious.
The interesting question is, had he just had that run on February the 1st and then been in the NZB Kiwi, he'd be one of the favourites off that mile
100%, and 1500 would have suited him. But all I know, even though he looked like he won easy, it was a hard run.
Yep, it was. All right, let's find out the grabs from the rest of the contenders. Let's see how the horses are shaping up ahead of the New Zealand Derby.
He's certainly taken a liking to the New Zealand lifestyle. He's in a really good routine, really good space. As I say, he's very fit. And I think having a look around Ellerslie, albeit he's still got things a little bit wrong, he's only going to improve with that outing. So, yeah, look, really happy. Looking forward to the weekend.
Look, we're really happy with both the horses. It's a class field. There's form lines coming from everywhere, so it's really hard to say, but pretty convinced that both of our horses will see the 1.5 miles, and that they're going to put their best foot forward.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone, we're hoping for a decent draw. Hopefully he can get an economical run, and I think the big plus for him is he should see out a strong 2400.
Yeah, he's run second on the Waikato Guineas and the Avondale Guineas. He's fit, he's well, he's very ready. McNabb galloped him this morning. He galloped up on the back plough. He's very, very happy with him. I think he's going into the race. He'll be going into the race 110%. Couldn't fault him. Yeah, really liked it. He's a real strong 2400 metre horse. The tempo didn't suit him at all. But he is good to the line, through the line. I think he needs a genuine run Derby, and he can be a major player. Look, he started one of the outsiders the other day, but wasn't beaten far. His work's been good, and yeah, if it's really genuine run, he's right in it.
Yeah, it was like, everyone was in the same boat. It was a funny run race, and I was probably originally a little bit disappointed. He sort of ranged up and just whacked away, but maybe a bit more pace in the race could have suited him better. Still slightly up in the air, whether he's going to stay or not, but his work's been good, and we're happy with him. He's a talented horse, so he's not just going to go around to make up the numbers anyway.
I look really happy with the way they're heading into the Derby. Obviously, they've been thereabouts in the lead-up races. Probably need to improve a length or two, but 2 3-year-olds that are progressive and seem to be heading the right way. They worked very well this morning in company, and yeah, I think they'll both run cheeky races on Saturday.
I think he can win the race for sure. Obviously the key will be him relaxing down that back straight and settling, and if he can do that, then he's going to be the horse to beat, because I've got no doubt he's the fastest horse in the race. Just got to make sure we've got enough stamina to go with it.
Yeah, we think he can take plenty of improvement from that. He's still very lightly raced. Was it a little bit green, Rory thought? Just didn't really want to go through that half gap, and then when it fully opened up, he was charging late. So, look, we think he profiles well for the race. He's come on super from the run. His work was really good here this morning. He's fit and well, and we think he's a real live Derby jump. So we're just praying for a barrier draw. We can ride him like we did there in the Avondale Guineas, put him up in the race, and if he is to draw a gate, we're confident he can run a bold race.
Well, as you can hear there from the connections, plenty of confidence around a number of runners. It certainly isn't just one-way traffic into one horse. We've spoken about this upcoming Derby, the 2025 Derby, but there have been some great runnings of the race previously, none more so than excellent. And I think there's a man on the panel who might enjoy this one.
The first New Zealand Derby I ever called was back in 2004, and it was won by this guy. Excellent. To this day, it's still my favourite Derby, because what this horse did was just unbelievable. At just his 3rd race day start, he won the New Zealand Derby. It was an enormous training feat and an enormous effort by the horse on the day. Settled well back in the field. The king, Mickey Coleman, got to the outside and he stormed home. I remember calling the race at the 200 metres. I looked back and you could see him coming in. I think I said, here comes Excellent.
Excellent ranged up on the outside. Oh, he is a superstar. Excellent at his 3rd start, wins the Mercedes Derby. Brilliant run.
Enjoying the life of Riley, and great to see him in such great nick as well. He was, as his name implied, an excellent racehorse.
Horses don't do this. Horses do not win the Derby at their 3rd start.
Not just special for George Simon, but special for, I guess, a lot of people at the moment, because it's a pretty poignant time to show that replay.
Exactly, with the passing, the sad passing and tragic passing of Mike Moroney. And when we did that story just a week ago, his daughter Alicia and her husband Chad Ormsby were about to fly over the next day to go and see Mike. And I said to her, just give the big fella my regards, you know. So yeah, that's just bloody terrible news, you know, and we all will miss him. He was such a, well, he's a Hall of Famer trainer, and he always rated Excellent as one of the very best horses he ever trained.
Yeah, and a great person too. Let's talk about selections, and Bevan, we'll start with you in terms of the New Zealand Derby. What are you liking?
I was just going to say, that's like racing porn, actually, isn't it? Watching, you know, Excellent win the Derby, and then you go back and listen to Teeley calling him when he was fresh up at Hastings. If you're having a bad day, go listen to those 2 calls and watch him run home. I am going to stick with Tuxedo. I tipped them at the
racing porn. I just can't get over that. The panel.
It's just appropriate. I reckon we'll get away R18. Tuxedo for me, I tipped him at LSE in the Cracker Millions. He ran second there. I thought he was brilliant the other day, so I'm going to go with him. I'm not going to count out Willie Do It. He's got too much ability. McD in the saddle, he's been flying. Oceana Dream is a really interesting horse coming into the race, and I want to throw a roughie out. I've got to. Dom Pedro, go and watch his trial behind Town Cry the other day. He might be the next asterisk from a maiden to a Derby winner.
Well, I can't look at George Simon the same way that you look at George Simon anymore. Sorry about that.
Well, not looking at George Simon.
Anyway, look, I think the race is going to come down to draws. Like Oceana Dream has got the bit of timing about it, the Roger James, Robert Wellwood factor, Barrier 1. I would have had Tuxedo on my ticket at number 1, but I just think Barrier 16, if by chance, first of all, I still want to see this race run at a good tempo. Tuxedo can win the race. I can't have my top 4 ticket just because of the draw. Look, I think Häkkinen from Barrier 2, great chance. Found a spot for the Doctor of Love. We've seen Trent and Natalie do this before, win derbies in New Zealand and in Australia. And I thought Kiwi Skyhawk, if he can just posse sort of midfield, 2,500 metres, it's going to be his friend.
I've just worked out why Aidan Rodley's late scratched this morning to come and do the show with Bevan Sweeney. That's the quote of the century, I kid you not. I think Oceania Dream, I agree with Leith, from that inside draw. It's going to get a lovely run through from there, and it was a lovely run in the Avondale Guineas last start. Tuxedo, he can win the race, wide draw and all. He'll just need a little bit of luck at some stage. I'll give Wooly another chance. If the real Willie Do It turns up, he's more than capable of winning. My absolute bolter in the race is number 15, Grey Area. It's last start wasn't too good, but it didn't have all favours. It could be the bolter in the Derby.
Great work. Great to have worked with you on the show, and awesome to have highlighted those two big 3-year-old features. Stick with us, because tomorrow night we've got the Group 1s to sink our teeth into. More action from Champions Day for that.
Group 1 racing, the pinnacle of our sport. Group 1s are the platform from which the future thoroughbred heroes announce themselves.
Alamosa with the best run you've ever seen got the prize.
Where superstars are unearthed.
Excellent, ranged up on the outside. Oh, he is a superstar.
And where the extraordinary become immortal.
Ring the bell, Melody's back in town, and that is 14 Group 1s, the all-time greatest Group 1 winner.
These races don't just honour history, they redefine it.
Ginger Nuts has dumped them in the Derby.
For equine athletes, masterful trainers, and fearless jockeys, this is the ultimate test. A rare stage, a fleeting chance at glory. But on Saturday at Ellerslie, 4 races bear the coveted Group 1 status. Speed.
It's Return to Conquer in front.
Determination.
She's back in the winning groove, Orchestral.
Stamina.
El Vencedor, he's got another Group 1 at Ellerslie.
Class.
And she is back and back big time class.
4 qualities needed for victory. 4 races to be decided. 1 unforgettable Champions Day.